Let me say, oh, they are raleigh, yale. There is blossoming of the color blotches and trees growing on my block, yeah. Oh, they are raleigh, oh yeah. Variety Society is on air, oh yeah. Oh, they are raleigh. So let me say it one again. Oh, they are raleigh, raleigh. Where I could kick it all day, raleigh. Welcome to another fly episode of Eazystar's Variety Society. Let me get my thing straight. And two things today. I don't know which is going to come first, but on YouTube I discovered a video series by a channel called The Spirit Science on YouTube. And they put together a remarkable series called Spirit Science. And I got in touch with them and they gave me permission to go ahead and play them on the show, basically. So we're going to install an episode, one of the Spirit Science lessons into today's show. And also with this episode, what I want to do is talk about the power of stillness. And this is how I kind of broke it down. So right now, there's a few energetic things going on at the current moment right now. And it's causing people to be imbalanced in emotion, I would say, for the most part. But we could just leave it at an imbalance due to heightened energy, just to keep it at its fundamentals, right? So, the elections, right? So, it ain't hard to see. This was one of the most racial tensioned elections of maybe of all times. You know what I'm saying? Considering it's the first black president, probably of all times, most racially, and especially the way the race was brought out through the Romney campaign, whether it was intentional or not. But it was definitely brought out to a great height, way more than the last election. I forgot who we ran against the last time, but it wasn't nearly as racially tensioned. Leading up to the election, it was just getting bad. It was just getting real bad. I don't really want to dwell on it, but we know the build up, the tension, the aftermath. I'm seeing, on the internet how true these situations are. Not people committing suicide, like racist white folks committing suicide, increase in white power organizations. What do they call those? White supremacist organizations marching. Just plain where things were maybe a little taboo 5 to 1 year ago. You know what I mean? As far as, all right, we're not going to discuss that. Even though maybe some of these things need to be discussed. But the way they're coming out is not through reason. They're coming out through emotions at this point. It's high energy, right? So, also the political stances, the 1%, the 99%, highly brought out this year. A lot of people on the underground level, I guess it's the best way I could explain it. You got people who kind of they're tired of just having Democrat and Republican. There should be more options. We really don't have a true democracy. People are seeing through what used to be a veil working behind the background of the political process, and they want to revamp the whole process. You got that energy going on. Heightened energy. That's, you know what I'm saying, that's local earth stuff, right? And then you got a couple things going on planetarily. You know what I'm saying? You have the polar shift. There's a cycle. I want to say every 2,000 years. If I'm mistaken, it's something like 6,000 years. But I want to stick with the 2,000 years. But there's a cycle where the planet has a magnetic shift. And we are coming up on, it's around this season. You know what I mean? And there's energetic changes coming in with that. You know what I mean? There's the solar flares. Oh man, every 11 years the sun goes through like a, man, get them off me. And it just solar flares out at a heightened state. And this is one of the heightened states. Tie that in with the polar shift. You know what I mean? What else is there? Oh, in spiritual land, I mean, and I've seen evidence of it, but a lot of people have heard of the dimensional shift, where we are primarily a three-dimensional living world. Like the reality that I'm talking through YouTube, and you know, this reality is basically three-dimensional, physical. You know, it's highly physical, which is a low end on the scale of dimensions. It's mad dimensions. It's a ton of dimensions, right? So I would imagine it can go up to infinite, to be frank with you. So we're in the middle of transitioning from third to fourth to fifth. I would imagine right now, if I'm calling it, it's somewhere between fourth and fifth, but we more so fourth at this point. Might be sliding into the fifth, you know what I mean? But anyways, that's a lot more energy to deal with. Tie together, just a recap of all the energy that's coming up on us. The elections, the dimensions, the polar shifts, and the solar flares. If you're not grounded, you're not going to be able to hold yourself together as organized as you would like, or however you want to look at it. I mean, there is an organization. Your power comes from your sense of organization. If you don't have enough grounding, you're not going to be able to hold your power together strong. You know what I mean? So that is why I want to talk about the power of stillness. And I don't want to act like the power of stillness isn't balanced against the power of movement. I would say we have to watch from being overdosed on going into the power of movement. With all this energy, we didn't understand the power of movement. We got to slow down our movement and not just hop on the first emotion that comes this way. Because with all this energy, not all of it is aligned, centered, truthful. There's a lot of lies popping around here. Just a lot of emotion popping around here on that energy, because people are not utilizing their power of stillness. So I'm going to start at your higher self. Alright. When you don't practice the power of stillness, and I'm going to define it a little better, but if you don't practice the power of stillness, it offers opportunities for you to hop aboard this emotion, hop aboard that emotion, hop aboard this thought, hop aboard that thought. And those thoughts don't necessarily have to be centered in your higher self. So there's the higher self I want to start with, and I want to put that at the center. You know what I'm saying? I want to kind of look at it like the sun. You know what I'm saying? And then for this particular discussion, for whatever reason, it came across my mind to just grab up the faculties of the mind. Just for something to actually, because you may organize yourself how you are able to digest your different faculties, you know what I'm saying, and organize yourself what works best for you. So to be kind of general, I just grabbed all the faculties of the mind up, and those are thought, memory, imagination, consciousness, emotion, and then I threw in heart, purpose, family, you know what I'm saying? And all these things are things that you could say make up yourself and rotate around a centered self. So if we're going to have a higher self be like the sun, then we're going to have these faculties be like planets rotating around yourself, right? The sun has to have enough power of stillness to hold a gravitational pull to have the planets keep revolving around it. All these years and years and years that the planets have been revolving around the sun, I mean, that's attributed to the power of the stillness, the gravity, you know, to be able to hold organization together for that long and have things rotate around it. The higher self, we want to have those faculties that make up ourselves be able to rotate around ourselves in an ordered fashion so that it can last, kind of like our solar system has lasted. You want to be able to have a higher self that's lasting and tuned in with your eternal side. You know what I mean? And when we are thrown off balance by all this energy, this emotion, and we're now practicing our power of self, we can jump into the power of movement and cause that imbalance. You're not centered nowhere. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel. That's what I'm addressing today, considering the current situation. I mean, actually, I could have been put this episode up because we've been over sensationalized for a long time, and this Power of Stillness could have been, you know, it has been useful for a long time, but it's really heightened right about now. I want to put it out there. So, I mean, you could, I got, like, again, I want to say thought, memory, let me put this out here, imagination, consciousness, emotion, heart, purpose, family. We might make up your own system of planets to rotate around your higher self. And I don't want to get into describing higher self. I will put, like, right around here, I will put, like, I talked about me, myself, and I, and the power of self, and the power of purpose, and being truly a higher self, and other videos, and I'll give you an opportunity to click and check those out. So, as energy increases, again, elections, dimensions, polar shifts, solar flares, as energy increases, stronger grounding is required to hold the balance. So we want to make sure we are stable enough in our higher self. Practice the power of stillness. Don't be jumping on the first emotion that comes your way and reacting to the first thing that comes your way. Hold still and remember your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Remember your higher self at all times, and keep yourself, keep all these other aspects, things that come into your consciousness, your world, your zone, things that prioritize and organize, and sometimes kick out. You know what I'm saying? Some things you want to bring in to help things stay balanced in your world, so you, your higher self, will stay balanced, and you can have all these other faculties around you rotate like planets in an organized fashion. Defend yourself from imbalances or centering on the rotators or the faculties or the planets. You know what I'm saying? Again, thought, memory, imagination, emotions, for example. And I guess I want to stick with the emotions to kind of tie this together. Don't just take your higher self and put all your focus, take it from being centered on yourself and then put it on a particular emotion. And like, it's not going to work. Your higher self is not really going to rotate around an emotion. If it tries, you got imbalance. What about all the other faculties that are supposed to be revolving around your higher self? They're going to revolve around just one emotion. It might try to use themselves, you know. I haven't really thought that deep into this subject, but I don't need to. It won't work. It's imbalanced. The higher self is what needs to be rotated around and centered. And the power of stillness allows everything to rotate around it. You see what I'm saying? And just as a safety catch, yeah, you want your higher self. You want it to look. You want to look at it in an analogy like you the sun, and planets is rotating around the sun, like your different faculties rotate around you, right? But also keep in mind, there's plenty of selves out there. You're not the only self out there. Everything won't rotate around you. And to keep the analogy going, the sun, our sun, actually rotates around another sun called Alcyone, which is the center sun of the star system, the Pleiades star cluster, right? So as we on planet Earth rotate around the sun, I mean, even the sun ain't the center of it all. The sun rotates around Alcyone and Pleiades. And, you know, as far as I don't know, but hypothetically, I don't see why, hey, Alcyone might be rotating around another entity. You know what I mean? You have to realize your place. You know what I'm saying? But you are a center enough to be able to organize everything in your world. Don't hop on the first emotion, the first thought. We need higher selves grounded, power of stillness to balance out with the power of movement. You know what I mean? That's the segment I want to kick with you today. Another fly episode of Eazystar's Variety Society. Holla at your boy. Peace. Let me say up there, Raleigh, Yale. There is blossoming of the color blotches and trees growing on my block, yeah. Oh, there a Raleigh, oh yeah. Variety Society is on air, oh yeah. Oh, there a Raleigh. So let me say it one again. Oh, there a Raleigh, where I could kick it all day, Raleigh.